Hello, and greetings from the Danish Immigrant Museum in Elkhorn. This is Tova Brandt. I'm the curator of exhibits at the museum, and today I would like to give you a preview of the exhibition that we're working on that will open in April. The title is Church Basements and Children's Homes, Danish American Missions Here and Abroad. And what we're doing is looking at the story of a lot of the different types of missions that were supported by Danish American churches, both in the Elkhorn area and around southwest Iowa and eastern Nebraska, but also across the country, through the Lutheran churches, through the Baptist churches, and both within the United States and all around the world. There's a lot of stories that we could follow into this topic, and we've picked out 5 main stories that kind of represent the range of mission activities that Danish American churches were supporting. One of them is children's homes. And for those of us in this area, the Elam Children's Home in Elkhorn is probably the most well-known. The Elam Home was providing a house for children from the 1890s until 1961. So literally, dozens and dozens and dozens of children were cared for in Elkhorn at the Elam Home. And that was supported not only by the Lutheran churches in Elkhorn and also in Kimballton, but more broadly by the United Danish Evangelical Lutheran Church based in Blair. But the Elam Home was not the only children's home that Danish American churches were supporting. There were children's homes in Chicago, in Waupaca, Wisconsin, in Tyler, Minnesota, and even out in New Jersey. So this was an effort that was seen as a way to serve a need of the community. These were largely founded before the state governments were taking charge of finding foster homes or orphanages. And so it was other types of groups like churches that recognized a need to care for vulnerable children. And what was really interesting as we were looking into this story is that the children's homes were organized and supported by Danish American churches, but the children did not have to be Danish American. The children could be of any background. It was just a recognition that there were children in need who had perhaps lost one or both of their parents, or who had families who simply were unable to care for them or to provide a stable environment for them. So that's one of the stories that we're telling in this exhibitions, and it helps us with the exhibit title, Church Basements and Children's Homes. We're also looking at some of the missions that were happening overseas. For example, there was a very active Japan mission supported by the United Evangelical Lutheran Church, the Danish Lutheran Church based in Blair. And they had, for many decades, missionaries in Japan from, again, the 1890s well into the 60s and 70s. And that was a specific outreach to Japan, both before World War II and after World War II. And what's very interesting there is that for the congregations back in the United States that were supporting this mission, this provided a way for them to learn about a distant culture, a very different place, a different people, and we find documents of what churches here were doing to learn about both the mission activities in Japan, but that was really a window into Japanese history and culture. The Luther League especially took on the Japan mission as their focused project, and so we find suggestions for Luther League mission nights of how they can have a Japan-themed decorations for their event, Japan-inspired food, and even the offerings to support the mission could be submitted in the shape of a miniature kimono. And we have a template of how one could cut out some fabric in the shape of a kimono, stitch it together, and place your coins for the Japan mission offering in that shape. So we're finding that there are wonderful stories of cross-cultural exchange throughout this, both in India, in Nigeria, Japan, in Oaks, Oklahoma, among the Cherokee Nation. And so a lot of these stories are ones that we'll be highlighting in this exhibition. The exhibit will open on April 16th, and on the following day, Sunday, April 17th, is when we plan our opening events. Inspired by some of the church basement activities that would have supported these missions, you can expect to hear more about hymn sing, and we might even be able to serve up some Jell-O salad for the event. So stay tuned for more information about that, and we look forward to seeing you at the Danish Immigrant Museum.